Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see equality of resources. Right? Idea of Dworkin's equality of resources. Before understanding equality of resources, I have to mention, I have to mention this debate in liberalism which talks about equality should be given in what basis, on what basis, right? Equality on what basis? Equality on what? So, in question of equality on what, the first people to talk about it was equality of welfare as given by utilitarians. Utilitarians talk about equality of welfare. Utilitarians talk about equality of welfare. Welfare for them means they define welfare in terms of pleasure. This means that equality of welfare means that giving equal importance to everyone's pleasure. What is the issue with this? If we equalize people in terms of pleasure, what happens? Right? What happens is this. Suppose, as I am explaining, as explained by Dworkin gives criticism of equality of welfare. So we are giving equal importance to everyone's pleasure, and we say that that is equality. That is equality of welfare. So let's just say that there is a father who has two sons, right? Son A lives a life of luxury. Son B lives a life of lives a life of lives a simple life. A lives life of luxury, B lives simple life. A wants to have shoes of Prada, B is okay with Bata, right? If this father says that A's lifestyle is luxurious, I will give 90% of my property to A. This distribution is not fair, and B's lifestyle is not that fancy, so he can suffice with 10% of the property. 10% of the property. But is this logical? Is this satisfy your sense of justice? Was this justice? This is not justice. This does not appeal to intuition of justice as explained by Dworkin. Dworkin criticizes Dworkin criticizes Dworkin criticizes equality of welfare because it takes into account pleasure. When you take into account pleasure and you try to equalize people in terms of pleasure, that system of distribution is not fair. It does not appear fair because if you equalize people in terms of pleasure, then system of distribution will favor those who have costlier pleasure than others, and that is not justice. Both the sons should have got 50-50% of the property, even though their lifestyles were wildly different. To solve this issue, that such distribution of resources Such distribution of resources is not fair, does not appeal to intuition of justice. Dworkin gives his theory of justice, his theory of equality, which is equality of resources, which we are going to study now. Before understanding equality of resources, we have to understand who was Dworkin, right? Who was Dworkin? Who was Dworkin? Dworkin is a social liberal like Rawls. Rawls was a social liberal. Dworkin is also a social liberal. Dworkin is luck egalitarian. Why he is called as luck egalitarian? We are going to understand why he is called as luck egalitarian, because he gives conception of luck, brute luck and option luck, and he gives theory of equality of resources. What is equality of resources? We will try to understand now. For Dworkin, equality is, again he gave that idea that equality is a sovereign virtue, that state have to establish equality, right? What is the what is the core? We understood social liberals, that social liberals try to make equality of outcome appear just, right? Right, equality of not outcome, equality of opportunity make appear just. Social liberals try to make appear equality of opportunity appear just, right? Dworkin does the same thing. Dworkin says that, and Dworkin gives in that pursuit equality of resources. What is the core idea of Dworkin? Core idea or core work of Dworkin. What does Dworkin is trying to do? Dworkin is trying to justify that inequality is not bad, and Dworkin is trying to say that inequality need to appear just. That is the idea. Inequality need to appear just, right? To understand Dworkin's theory of equality of resources, we have to understand his his conception of luck as well. Conception of luck becomes very important in his equality of resources. Conception of luck of Dworkin. Dworkin gave two kinds of luck. First is brute luck, and second is option luck. What is brute luck? Brute luck is something which is not in anyone's hands, right? Being born with a disability was not in your hand, right? Physical disability, social disability, mental disability are not in your hand. When they are not in your hand, then such luck is brute luck. And can be brute luck can be compensated for, right? Brute luck can be compensated for. I will explain both of these things with an example of race. Option luck. Option luck is due to choices. Choices and it is something which you can held be accountable for, which you can be held accountable. And such option luck need not be compensated, need not be compensated. Example will be, you become physically disabled, physical disability out of accident which is your own fault. You have a new sports bike, you start running that sports bike, you start bhagawing that sports bike, and you get into accident on a divider, and you have to cut your both your legs off. Such disability need not be compensated, right? I will give you example, right? I will give you example. What would be brute luck? What would be brute luck? That I am born with a disability. What would be option luck? That that I am I have acquired a disability. I have acquired a disability due to my own choices. I have acquired a disability due to my own choices, which can be compensated for brute luck, not option luck. For example, let's say you are born with social disability. It is not a disability. I am just quoting Supreme Court. You are born with a disability of being social disability, that you have been marginalized your whole life. You and you are born with a social disability of being born in a not Supreme Court, but born in a scheduled caste. Your generations have been uh, marginalized, and you are still being marginalized as untouchable. You are born with social disability. Then such disability can be compensated for, and you can be granted reservation. But Supreme Court itself has said that you are born a scheduled caste, then you make a conscious choice of converting to Christianity. When you make a conscious choice of converting to Christianity, your social disability no longer exists, because there is no caste system in Christianity. When there is no caste system in Christianity, you are not entitled to reservation. This is brute luck and this is optional luck. If you are born a scheduled caste, you should be entitled to compensation of reservation. But if you are born a scheduled caste, and and you convert to Christianity, then you are not entitled to reservation. Recently, Honorable Honorable Chief Justice Gawai B.R. Gawai said that reservation should be limited to first generation, right? Should be limited to first generation. That is the idea of brute luck as well. That compensation should be limited to only initial time. If you are born with a disability, then you should be only compensated for. Let's say your father is a Supreme Court judge and you belong to scheduled class. Then, according to Mr. B.R. Gawai, Honorable Chief Justice, former Chief Justice B.R. Gawai, you should not be entitled to reservation, because you don't need reservation, because you are not susceptible to any kind of disability, right? So compensation should happen only initially. That is the idea of brute luck and option luck. We take this idea of brute luck and option luck, and we have to apply it in Dworkin's idea of equality of resources. When and we will start with equality of resources, Dworkin's idea of equality of resources, with the political fiction, a fictional story given by Dworkin in his book Sovereign Virtue. Political fiction, not fictional, political fiction in his book Sovereign Virtue. What is sovereign virtue? Or what is political fiction? It is basically his equality of resources. Political fiction is his equality of resources. We'll understand this story, right? Dworkin says that let's suppose, let's suppose a ship gets wrecked. There are 100 people on the ship, all survive, and they find an island near their wrecking site, right? These 100 people go to this island. All these 100 people are rational. They are rational, and they argue within each other. They argue with each other what kind of system of distribution should be on this island. What kind of system of distribution should be on this island? And these 100 rational people will say that system of distribution should be market based, and market based as it respects people's choice. System of distribution is market based. What is market based? What is market based? That there are multiple players which are fighting for same resources. 100 rational people, after their ship gets wrecked, they get to an island which has a lot of resources. The island has land, island has water, island has coconut trees, island has let's say fish ponds, island has more trees, etc., etc., etc. Island has a lot of resources. 100 rational people will say that distribution of resources on this island should be market based, and because it respects people choice, what people wants to buy is market based. That laissez faire, if you remember laissez faire, that it should be market based, and such market based is ambition sensitive, because it respects people choice. What is ambition sensitive? What is ambition sensitive? Ambition sensitive means I have a choice. If I want land, if I want water, if I want coconut, if I want fish pond, your ambition is taken into account. Your ambition should be taken into account, right? So they will distribute all the resources of the island on base of market principle of ambition sensitive auction. There is going to be an auction which is ambition sensitive. So 100 rational negotiators, when on an island full of resources, how does they distribute resources among them? System of distribution is going to be like this. What is system of distribution? Let's start with currency, right? They will assign clamshells as their currency. Clamshells. Uh, clamshells, uh, let's say like a token currency. Clamshells token. Everyone clamshells is assigned a currency. Right? Clamshells is assigned a currency. Then everyone will get equal clamshells. Clamshell is like I know Hindi word for it. Shanku, right? Shanku. So they will get equal clamshells, token currency, like token. They will get equal clamshells. When they get equal clamshells, it means that everyone is assumed to be equal. But this is not true. If everyone gets equal clamshell, people people is assumed to be equal. There is assumed to be a level playing field at the start. Is it true? It is not true because some people can be physically handicapped, some people can have social disability, some people can have mental disability. For these people, for physically handicapped, for socially disabled people, and for mentally disabled people, basically people with bad brute luck, people with brute luck need to be compensated. When people with brute luck need to be compensated, some clamshells need to be set aside for them. So some clamshells are set aside for people with brute luck. People with brute luck. Right? Everyone will get equal clamshells, but people are not equal. Some are born with brute luck. People are born with brute luck need to be compensated, so they will be given some extra clamshells. Right? Then auction happens. Auction has to be made because out of resources like land, water, coconut, or fish ponds, some people will want land, some people will want water, some people want coconut, some people will want fish ponds. So people will have choice so as to which kind of resource they want, which kind of resource they want. So action has to be made ambition sensitive. I have ambition of controlling this land. So such auction should respect my choice. Such auction should not impose on me that I should get water as my resource. Right? So ambition sensitive auction basically means that my choice of acquiring land should be respected. Right? Auction has to be made which is ambition sensitive, should respect my choice, and it should be endowment sensitive, which should respect and eliminate brute luck. Endowment sensitive auction should eliminate impact of brute luck. What is brute luck? Brute luck is a disability which you are born with. So endowment sensitive action basically mean eliminate impact of brute luck. How do you eliminate impact of brute luck? By giving extra clamshells to disadvantaged. You are you are giving extra clamshells to disadvantaged. So what we have seen till now in system of distribution, that number one, people have assigned a particular currency as their token currency. Let's say clamshells. Everyone will get equal clamshells. Everyone will get equal clamshells, and and because of some people have natural disability, some people have brute luck, they need to be compensated for that brute luck. That is why some clamshells are set aside for them. Now 100 rational people, they will say that how does distribution of resources will happen. How does distribution of resources will happen? There should be an auction. Such auction should be ambition sensitive. It should be, it should respect choice. It should respect my choice of acquiring land or water or anything else. It should ambition sensitive. Ambition sensitive auction. Ambition basically means choice. I should not be imposed a particular resource which I don't want. If I want a particular resource, I should do and win auction for that. And such ambition sensitive auction also need to be endowment sensitive. What is endowment sensitive means? It basically means that we should eliminate impact of brute luck from auction. How do you eliminate impact of brute luck from the auction? By giving extra clamshells to disadvantaged, right? Right? How do you give extra clamshells to disadvantaged? How do you compensate for brute luck? Dworkin gives process for that as well, right? Process of compensation to brute luck. Process of compensation to brute luck, right? Process of compensation to brute luck. Compensation to brute luck will happen via process of insurance. Insurance, 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 which is market based insurance. By who will give premium for this insurance? We have kept extra clamshells for this, right? And who will be the insurer in this principle, in this process of insurance? State. State will insure, and state will be the insurer. State will insure brute luck, and state will ensure that auction is ambition and endowment sensitive, right? Again, I will take the whole thing with an example, right? I will take the whole thing with an example, don't worry, right? So auction has happened, system of distribution has happened, and it is ambition sensitive and endowment sensitive both. Now how does you know that this distribution is fair? How do you know that this distribution is fair? By applying NV test. By applying NV test. right? Envy test means that everyone should be happy with their pool of resources. That is the idea of envy test. So this was the idea of equality of resources as given by Dworkin. I will explain the whole political fiction with an example again. Right? Whole political fiction with an example. Let's assume let's assume you're on a playground playing Monopoly. Right? Let's assume that, and there are four players, and and they are given there are 10 players, and they are given 100 rupees each to play a game of Monopoly. 100 rupees are given to them, but then auctioneer realizes that then the state realizes that auctioneer realizes that two of these boys are mentally not that well. They will not be able to play the game with cunningness, with connivity as other eight boys. So what that auctioneer does is say that give me 10 rupees from each of your purses. So 10 rupees each will be taken from them. Right? Each will be taken, each will be, is on 90 rupees right now. Each on 90 rupees right now. But those two mentally disabled people, right? Mentally disabled kids are there. Money is not given to them yet. When is money given to them? We are going to understand. Right? Everyone is given equal clamshells. Then 10 rupees is taken from each of them, including the mentally disabled. Now auction starts. Auction starts. This is not game of Monopoly. This is game of auction. On Monopoly board, there are different on Monopoly board. There are different resources. There is jail. There is hotel. There is airport. There is, I don't know, car garage and all those things. So auction starts. Some someone want to own jail, right? Someone want to own jail. Jail is not sellable in Monopoly, but still, someone want to own jail. So auction starts. Auction starts, and and mentally disabled kid starts auctioning more. He really wants jail, but he does not realize he has only 90 rupees. Bid goes to 90. Auctioneer realizes this mentally disabled kids need some help. Auctioneer decides that this mentally disabled kid needs some help, and he, by the pool of clamshells, by the pool of rupees that is given to him by kids themselves, he says that I will give you some money to buy this resource, and he gives him 10 extra rupees and he gets the jail. That is the idea. That kid wanted jail. His ambition was to get jail. That was his choice. But he could not get jail because he did not have money. But he was mentally disabled. There was some brute luck which hounded him. So, so auctioneer decides that such this person who is hounded by brute luck should be given extra clamshells. So auction becomes endowment sensitive. Such option is not for others. It is only for that disabled kid, right? And how does he compensate for that brute luck? Via insurance, which is market based. Extra clamshells is in hand of the auctioneer state, and such state will ensure that brute luck is compensated for. Right now, resources on that monopoly board are auctioned off. Someone has jail, someone has airport, someone has garage, someone have hotel, etc., etc., etc. Everyone is happy with the resources they have. They don't look at each other with envy. Everyone realizes that even though the disabled kid got jail, it is fine, it is fair, because his starting position was not that well. And this is the idea of Dworkin's equality of resources. This is the idea of political fiction. I hope you understood this. I hope you understood this. From the next lecture, we'll start with Amartya Sen and his idea of equality of capabilities. Thank you so much. I hope this helped. We'll start with we'll start Sen from the next lecture. Thank you so much. Bye bye.